Hey, howdy, and a big welcome back to Clemhawks, folks. I'm Yak, ready to take you through another edition of Minnesota Wild discussion here on the channel today. And folks, guess what? Big breaking news in the NHL today, and I want a part of it. I don't care how bad you are going to fry me for talking about this from a Minnesota Wild perspective. Quite honestly, bring it on, because that means you're watching this video and not watching somebody else's video talking about this, or maybe you're going to go watch somebody else's video after. But my friends, I am sorry. I got to get a piece of this Matthew Tkachuk action here today and discuss why the Minnesota Wild should be all ears on it, right? That's absolutely 100%. You know, every other YouTuber out there is going to be doing a video on it. Hey, you know what? I'm getting a piece of the action because my man Clem needs some dough off of YouTube, and we're going to get that done right here, right now, a little bit by talking about Matthew Tkachuk. So, folks, Matthew Tkachuk, if you don't know, member of the Calgary Flames, star forward next to Johnny Gaudreau, 100-point player this season, and he is on his way out of town, almost guaranteed within the next week via trade. So for the Minnesota Wild, right, the cap space, that's an issue. Tkachuk currently an unsigned RFA, and he's gone to club-elected salary arbitration with the Calgary Flames, so that'll be coming up here. But that is exactly why he is on the massive get-out-of-town trading block boat right now, and that's where I'm going to talk about the Minnesota Wild a little bit here and see if we can't find ourselves a little bit of a fit. So the Minnesota Wild, friends, what you need to know right here, right now for the Minnesota Wild is they have their first in the next 3 straight drafts. First in 2023, first in 2024, first in 2025. I'm talking assets, friends. Second rounders, all there. Third rounders, only in 24-25. Everything else, all there. So you can make anything you need to via trade with draft picks happen for Matthew Tkachuk. Problem is, you've got $4.3 million of cap space to spend this offseason. And Matthew Tkachuk, he's going to be looking for 9+. So you got to find some way, somehow, to clear $5 million of cap space. Well, oh gee, Yak, isn't it very mighty convenient that you talked about a man on the Minnesota Wild defense that the Calgary Flames wouldn't mind having for the Battle of Alberta last night, if you caught it all, 161 of you that have checked out that video so far. And I'm not saying that's low. That's a good number here on Clemhawks. Matt Dumba. Well, right there, my friends, is your $6 million in cap space. He is a free agent at the end of next year, and why not, right? You get to run potentially a top line of Kirill Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson and, oh, by the way, Matthew Tkachuk. As a Minnesota Wild fan, even if you're grilling me in the comments right now, if you are frying me for even talking about this because I'm a greedy YouTuber who wants views, watch time, and money, I am sorry. You gotta love that. You gotta love hearing that that could be a possibility if Bill Guerin's lurking around in the waters of Calgary right now, down there in the Bow River, waiting to snatch up a Matthew Tkachuk from the hands, holding over the river, of Mr. Brad Treliving, right? There's you gotta like it. You gotta like it. That's what I'm appealing to. I'm appealing to your very desire to have a top tier offensive line, right? You're talking Kaprizov. You're talking Eriksson. You're talking Matthew Tkachuk on that top line as a Minnesota Wild fan. You're talking you have the confidence to run with the Edmonton Oilers, depending what they run out there with Connor McDavid, right? You're talking you can run with the big boys in Toronto. You can run with the big boys in Colorado, who you're probably more concerned about. I'm from Canada, right? It's the Leafs and Oilers for me, but really, at the end of the day, you're concerned about Colorado. Well, that gives you a good running chance in the Central Division against Colorado, so why not? And I just laid it out right there. You got $10 million in cap space if you send Matt Dumba back to the Calgary Flames, if you send a first-round pick back to the Calgary Flames, and whatever else they ask for to the Calgary Flames. Prospect, Liam Ogren, get on down to Calgary. We're going to run a top line that could run Colorado out of the building, because you're with Matthew Tkachuk, you're getting a 100-point scorer this year. You're getting a guy who can fight. You're getting a guy who agitates. You're getting a guy who is an absolute lack of a better term, and I don't mean this offensively, I've used it offensively against Matthew Tkachuk, a weasel on the ice, a Brad Marchand, right? A guy that just everybody friggin' hates until he's on your team. Right? You get where I'm going. It's quite simple math. You'd hate to play against him. 31 teams in the NHL hate to play against him. But man, that 32nd team that has him on their team, he's loved in Calgary for a reason. The goal has been for him to never really stay there, and it doesn't appear that he's going to. So in the next 7 days, as a Minnesota Wild fan, why would you not take a look here at Matthew Tkachuk? Say, man, the simple math is Matthew Dumba, a prospect, and a first and something else at worst to get Matthew Tkachuk to my team in Minnesota on the Wild. Well, oh my goodness, friends, that is simple. Now, the key question here is obviously it's a bold assumption from Yak's perspective here that we're talking that the Calgary Flames can make the trade for Matt Dumba. Oh, dang! Those guys are down bad, though. They had $18.5 million of salary cap set aside to sign Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk, and now within a week's time, they'll more than likely have lost both of them via trade or free agency. Yikes! That is rough. But, friends, that leaves them with $18.5 million of cap space. Very kind of cleaned out cupboards in the draft here, right? No third, no fifth next year. So maybe if you're going to suck, you might want to get up some other picks there around. So why not a first? Why not a fifth? Right? You see where I'm going with it. Drive yourself. Yeah, they got to sign Andrew Mangiapane. They got to sign Oliver Shillington. They got to sign some other guys all around the place. But why not, right? You got it done, right? Everything is done, but you can very easily go out there and get everyone else done and fit Matt Dumba under the cap in a trade for Matthew Tkachuk, while also picking up potentially a prospect, potentially a first-round pick, and a roster player, and on that defense there, if you're talking about defense, right, their right defense, Rasmus Andersson, Christopher Tanev. The next guy in line is Nicholas Milosh, who at best you would prefer to have as a seventh defenseman. Oliver Shillington kind of factors in as your third or second pair D, so you'd like to factor in Matt Dumba. That's what I'm saying. I'm not even trying to dump Matt Dumba. Like I said, you got to be smart, but then today, the wha-bang of Matthew Tkachuk being on the trading block for the Calgary Flames because of everything going on is all of a sudden, hold up. Yeah, Matt Dumba, that's a very smart move to trade him. And for the Minnesota Wild, right, you look at how they've acquired some of their players over the years, trade, and some of their better players have come in via trade, right, Jacob Middleton, for instance, but, both goaltenders, Fleury and Gustafsson, and don't forget up front, Foligno. Don't forget Jost. Don't forget Hartman up front. There's a bunch of guys that have built this team via trade. Why not go out there, swing for the fences? Literally, Bill Guerin, go out there and swing for the fences, right? Nobody is talking about Minnesota trading for Matthew Tkachuk right now because the salary cap does not support it while having both Suter and Parise on buyouts. But go out there, swing for the fences, and get it done. Because quite honestly, you want to talk about being a one-trick pony that could run with the Colorado Avalanche, you are right there with Matthew Tkachuk. And like I said, I hate the guy. I'm an Oilers fan. He is an absolute awful menace to play against on the ice. But that's from an Oilers fan perspective. And coming from Yak covering the Minnesota Wild here on Clemhawks, I'm saying why not? Load it up, baby. Let's make it interesting. We're not that far from St. Louis, Missouri either, realistically, once you get south of the border. So, hey, max chaos. Max chaos that benefits Clemhawks, benefits Dolany TV, benefits everybody involved watching this video. Done and dusted. Why not do it? So, folks, if you're new to the channel, what I want you to do right now is hit a subscribe. Just literally if you're a Minnesota Wild fan. If you're anyone else yelling at me in the comments, I don't care. I'm doing this because I know I'm going to get hits on it, all right? I've been at this game for 7 years. I know what I'm doing, all right? I'm very full aware, if you're still listening, exactly what I'm doing with this video. Secondary to that, though, bring it on because let's go. If you're a Minnesota Wild fan, I want you here to hang out with us on Clemhawks for the rest of the summer going into the season because my man Clem, he is trying to get some graphic design stuff off the floor. That kind of stuff, business kind of stuff takes money, right? You got to have money to start a business. and we're trying to get Clem right there by getting monetized here on YouTube. So folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for entertaining my devilish delight in absolutely raking up YouTube views based on crazy trade videos that are basically meant just to get clicks. But hey, you can't get mad at a man for hustling, right? Man's got to hustle to get anywhere in life. Folks, gone. Folks, I lost my cursor.